One of the things that she was also coming through and saying was there was also a baby that had passed that's with her as well.
Oh my God, Ava.
You can't Google people on the street, so how would they do it? Before we get into the thing you have to keep in mind is that a key to a good reading, especially on the go, on the street, is confidence and not letting the person think. Keep hitting them with a lot of information so they don't have time to process it. Cold reading uses a technique called Barnum effect, which we will explain shortly. But it is not the Barnum statement alone that do the trick here, rather a combination of Barnum statements, confirmation bias, and body language for a lack of better word. Don't worry, I'll explain it all when we go along.
The stand of the child that had passed?
Yes.
Who was this to you?
My brother.
So of course this is always the way it begins. The charlatan has to talk to a deceased person. That's what they are claiming to do. The deceased one is usually apparent if who you are doing the reading for is an elderly person. But in this case it is a child, and this could go anywhere. In this case it is a brother.
Know that he's stepping forward with you because all of a sudden he told me he passed in a tragedy and I had to come and talk to you. Because he said to me, oh my God, my sister, my sister.
Keep in mind, he didn't know who this child was a moment ago.
The stand of the child that had passed?
Yes.
Who was this to you?
My brother.
But now all of a sudden, from the beginning, he's saying my sister, my sister.
Know that he's stepping forward with you because all of a sudden he told me he passed in a tragedy and I had to come and talk to you. Because he said to me, oh my God, my sister, my sister.
Isn't that convenient? Another common theme is passing in tragedy, which is every death. You can't disagree with that.
Know that he's stepping forward with you because all of a sudden he told me he passed in a tragedy and I had to come and talk to you. And who passed in tragedy?
Just recently, my father-in-law.
He says to me, I thought I was going to beat this. Well, I'm right here. Who passed in tragedy?
Oh my God, I mean, I feel like every death is a tragedy.
And about the fact that you felt as though that you never got to say goodbye to him.
Also, another thing that keeps repeating itself is you never get to say goodbye to them. Which, again, is true for most deaths. You usually don't know when somebody passes to say goodbye to them. I mean, I don't even know why I'm explaining this. But when you're bombarded with information after information, your mind struggles to process it unless you watch it back and analyze it sentence by sentence, which is what we are doing right now.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that? That is the body language of cold reading. You gotta get some feedback from them to see if they are agreeing with you or not, so you can know which direction you are going to. You have to read their body language, their facial expression. They feed you information without knowing it.
And whose rosary beads do you have that you kept? Was this your grandmother's?
No, it's my sister.
Your sister?
She passed away too.
As well, because all of a sudden he handed over rosary beads to me and said, and I kept hearing him saying like she's got the beads. So that would be him letting you know that he's there with your sister and that they're safe and at peace.
Did you notice what happened there?
And whose rosary beads do you have that you kept? Was this your grandmother's?
There was a camera cut, so probably what happened was there was no rosary beads, but even after the cut, he repeated himself as if she agreed with him initially. This is another trick, not for the person you are doing the reading for per se, but for the audience. Because the person you are doing the reading for is not gonna disagree with you, especially in front of a camera, with whatever BS you are spitting. And that allows you to make the audience think whatever you are saying is true.
Whose rosary beads do you have that you kept? Was this your grandmother's?
No, it's my sister.
Your sister?
She passed away too.
As well, because all of a sudden he handed over rosary beads to me and said, and I kept hearing him saying like she's got the beads. So that would be him letting you know that he's there with your sister and that they're safe and at peace. Because when I was over here...
For the next one, I want Debunk Munch. Instead, I want you to put on your skeptic hat and instead of believing whatever he says, try to analyze it and try to critique it. See if you can catch anything.
He stepped forward with your brother stepping forward. Hello, he's saying, I'm Anthony, and you didn't recognize him?
No. Now that you say it, yes.
Because one of the things is that he stepped forward as the father figure on the other side, allowing your brother's soul to come through. And one of the things that your brother had told me is about the fact that his passing was like this. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
He was not expecting to pass at the time that he did. He tells me that he was dealing with an up and down battle. Do you understand? Meaning that he thought that he was going to get better. Because he told me about the fact, like, I feel like when I'm connecting with him, like it either spread to his head or there was issues going on with his head before his passing.
Many.
Okay. Know that one of the things that he had said to me is that even though he was going through all these things with his body, that he is now fine. Did someone put like pictures in his casket or put things within his pocket? He sees everything that's being put in, and there's like they put in crazy stuff like dollar bills and whatnot because he's laughing about it on the other side. And it's his way of acknowledging to you that not only does he have all of that, but he is safe and at peace. And he wants to thank you for everything that you did.
I'm blown away. His birthday is in 2 days, and
How did you do? If you couldn't catch much, try to go back and watch it again, and this time also look for a camera cut, by the way. There's not much to debunk here because we have already discussed most of the things that he did. The only thing is up and down barrel and issues with head.
He tells me that he was dealing with an up and down battle. Do you understand? Meaning that he thought that he was going to get better. Because he told me about the fact, like, I feel like when I'm connecting with him, like it either spread to his head or there was issues going on with his head before his passing.
many.
These are Barnum statements. Barnum effect in psychology is a phenomenon that occurs when individuals believe that personality descriptions apply specifically to them, more so than other people, despite the fact that the description is actually filled with information that applies to anyone. But in this case, the Barnum statements are specific to a deceased person, but vague enough that could apply to most deceased people. For example, issues with head could range from tumor, mental illness, headache, you name it. And even if it didn't hit, that's fine. You can keep going. You can keep going, give more information. Another aspect is confirmation bias.
I'm blown away. His birthday is in 2 days, and
One thing that I recommend do after visiting a psychic, a fortune teller, tarot reader, or any of those things is remembering hits and ignoring misses, which means you ignore those things that don't apply to your life and remember or even emphasize the things that you think they were true and apply to your situation. And that is coupled with the Barnum effect, makes you make up stories in your head for what happened. Makes you bring out more things that are related to your situation.
we were just talking, my mother and I were just talking about him.
Oh, God bless him. God bless him. He's still with you.
He said, while we were speaking, my mom called the shop 3 times.
Trying to get in
Just,
touch.
yeah, just blowing my mind.
That's great.
Saturday's his birthday. He died 15 years ago.
Amazing.
It's just crazy that you pop up here. Amazing.
Things that wasn't even said by the psychic, which makes the charlatan even more credible in front of gullible people.
Hey, your mother passed?
Yes.
For elderly people, it is easier to be more direct.
Know that she's stepping forward with you on the other side because you came out and your mother came in.
This lady got emotional before anything happened, which means she's a believer already. That makes it much easier.
She said, my daughter, she says, I have to talk to my daughter. She says, we were like best friends here in this physical world. Do you understand that? Yes. She had said to me, thank you so much for everything that you did for me. She says, before I left this physical world. She said to me, she says, listen, she says, my mother was there every single time. She says, I asked for something or I needed something. She says that she never failed me. She says, and more importantly, she never let me down. She says, I thought that I was going to be coming home or that she was going to be coming home. Do you understand that? Because she says, I did not want to stay in the hospital. I did not want to be in the hospital.
Put her in hospice so she wouldn't have to go to the hospital anymore.
The other videos do the job for me now. I don't have to do anything.
But she tells me that your family couldn't get her to the hospital on time or felt like that there was missed time with getting her treated. She tells me about them having to change hospitals or having to change care facilities when I'm connecting with her. Know that that would be what she'd be talking about. Not only do you speak to her every day, she says, but you feel her presence all the time. And she tells me that there's times when you just sit and you go through the photo albums.
This lady is very easy to read because she agrees with everything, even if it is not related to her. So the only thing he has to do is keep bringing out more stuff from his repertoire and hope for big hits.
She says, and look back on some of the pictures and memories, and more importantly, this is gonna sound crazy too, but you actually smell her? Oh yeah. I keep smelling it. One of the things that she was also coming through and saying was there was also a baby that had passed that's with her as well.
Oh my God, Ava.
That was the big hit. The others were more common, like photo albums, smelling, and another camera cut. It is a shame that the big hit was a vague statement like a baby passing.
One of the things that she was also coming through and saying was there was also a baby that had passed that's with her as well.
Oh my God, Ava. Oh my God. Yes, my granddaughter, she was 3 days old.
I know. She says, this child, she says, that had passed, she says, is not only in my arms, she says, but there was issues where things didn't form on the inside. Do you understand that? Meaning that this was not your fault.
Unfortunately, not a hit again. Remember, when a big hit happens, there is usually a reaction or facial expression, especially with this lady.
She said that she got the best medical care that she possibly could. She says this baby was so strong. She says, but one of the things is I kept feeling like it wasn't getting oxygen or there was issues like within the blood.
Oh damn, mad. You are keep missing. Unlucky.
And both your parents came up behind me from the other side to let me know. They're like, don't let her start the car. They're like, we're here. We want to speak to her. Because one of the things is that he was very tough when he was here in this physical world. He said one of the things is that he wanted to come over to let you know that he knows that he wasn't there, or that he knows that he wasn't as supportive as he should have been with you.
So many vague Barnum statements, which unfortunately they don't hit as much as he wants them to.
He says, I know how hard it was. He says, for you to keep a connection with me. He says, and for you to make the relationship happen. Do you understand that?
Another Barnum statement.
He says, because I was somebody, he says, that was very set in my ways. He says, and I was somebody, he says, who sometimes I only cared about.
He says, I know what you are thinking right now. How could Matt get all these informations from the other side and talk so fast without any interruption? Well, the Wi-Fi must be very strong from the other side.
Myself. He said to me that even though that me and your mother, he's just used to fight and argue with one another. He said we loved each other very much.
Of course, married couples fight sometimes. Actually, most of the times.
Because I didn't get to tell you, he says, how grateful that I was. He says, and I felt like I never got the opportunity to thank you for all that you did for me. And she says, one of the things that I was connecting with your mother, what she had said to me, was about the fact that she says, listen, she goes, my smoking, she says, is what had killed me. She says, and what had put me in that bed. She says, and you need to stop right now. Because she told me about the fact that you've been wanting to quit, but you haven't thrown away the pack yet.
Yeah, I sneak.
You sneak.
Stop sneaking.
I don't think the last part was called reading. Before the reading, because remember, this reading starts from a very suspicious place.
And both your parents came up behind me.
So probably before they went to her, they saw her put out her cigarette or something. And the last bit about her wanting to quit smoking is not that impressive in my opinion. Actually, it is not impressive at all, because all smokers try or have tried multiple times to quit smoking. I guess what I want to say is quitting is not that hard, because I've tried it so many times. And that is it for today. Don't forget to hit the like button, also subscribe, and don't get fooled by these charlatans. Also, let me know if you want more of these videos. See you in the next one. Bye.